Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly excited you're here. So today, we're going to break down something we literally all use every single day, but we rarely stop to really think about how it actually works. We're talking about the fundamental parts of a computer system. We're going to go step by step through this material, and honestly, this is the best part, we're going to test our brand new knowledge with a really fun interactive practice session right at the end. So, grab your mental notepad and let's get started. Okay, let's take a super quick look at our roadmap for today. 1. Meet the computer. 2. Where do we use them? 3. The 4 main parts. 4. Helpful computer accessories. And 5. Time to practice.
All right, section 1, meet the computer. So, what is it exactly?
To really understand a computer, think of the human body for a second. Just like our bodies have all these different parts working together to make us function, a computer is essentially a system of parts. At its core, it's an electronic machine. But what makes it so incredibly special is its versatility. It's used to do so many different kinds of work. You can use it to play games, watch movies, send and receive messages, the whole shebang. It's basically a giant multi-tool powered by electricity. Now, a computer has some pretty amazing features that make it quite a bit different from us humans. I actually like to call these its superpowers. First up is storage. Unlike us, a computer can store a massive amount of information and it literally never forgets it. Second is speed. It works incredibly fast. Third is accuracy. This is a big one. A computer works without making any mistakes. And finally, it's completely tireless. A computer never gets tired. It can work 24 hours a day without taking a single break. Kind of jealous of that last one, honestly. Moving on to section 2. Where do we use them? Well, the short answer is everywhere. Seriously, computers are almost everywhere you look. In schools, they keep details of students and teachers. They track all those library books, and they prepare your report cards. Over in offices, people use them to type letters, store information, and shoot off emails. When you go to a shop, the computer's there keeping a record of items and printing out your bills. At the bank, computers manage your account details and let you withdraw cash from the ATM. And in hospitals, they are absolutely vital for keeping patient details and running complex medical reports. They are essentially the invisible engine running our everyday lives. Which brings us to section 3, the 4 main parts. Let's dive into the core anatomy of this machine. The very first part we need to talk about is the monitor, which, looks a whole lot like a TV screen. But not all monitors are created equal. We generally have 2 main types, LCD and LED. LCD stands for liquid crystal display. It has a flat screen, takes up less space, and consumes less electricity than those old bulky screens from back in the day. But then we have LED, which stands for light-emitting diode. LEDs are even lighter in weight, they're thinner in size, and get this, they consume a whopping 40% less power compared to LCDs. That's a real game changer. So looking at these two side by side, you've got the LCD monitor looking nice, flat, and efficient. And then you've got the LED monitor right there boasting that ultra-thin profile and massive power savings. Now, both of them serve the exact same purpose. They display the computer's work so you can see it, but the actual technology humming away inside them is different. Next up, for our main parts, we have our primary input devices, the keyboard and the mouse. The keyboard is what we use to type letters, words, numbers, and special symbols. Fun fact, a standard keyboard actually has exactly 104 buttons, which we call keys. And right beside it, you'll usually find the mouse. A standard computer mouse typically has 2 or 3 buttons and sits on a mouse pad. We use it to point, move, and select items right there on the monitor. Plus, it's absolutely essential for playing games and drawing. And finally, we arrive at the absolute most important piece of the puzzle, the CPU, or Central Processing Unit. Think of this as the brain of the computer. Just like your brain controls your body, the CPU controls all the other parts of the computer. It handles all the processing and relies on a really large memory to help it remember things. Without the CPU, the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, they're totally useless. They're just fancy paperweights.
Okay, Section 4, helpful computer accessories. Let's look beyond the main four parts.
One of the absolute most common accessories we attach is the printer. A printer takes the text or the pictures you see on your screen and prints them directly onto paper, either in black and white or in full color. And there are three main types you'll run into. Dot matrix, which is an older style that uses tiny pins, the laser printer, which is super fast and uses powder called toner, and the inkjet printer, which literally sprays tiny drops of liquid ink. Now, listen closely here, because this is definitely going to come up later in our practice session. When a printer transfers your digital work onto a physical piece of paper, that printed piece of paper is officially called a hard copy. Lock that term in, hard copy. It basically just means something physical that you can actually hold in your hand. Another incredibly helpful accessory is the UPS, which stands for uninterrupted power supply. Imagine you're working on a massive project, right? And suddenly, boom, the power goes out. Without a UPS, the computer shuts off instantly and your work is just gone. Poof. But a UPS has a built-in battery that keeps the computer working for a short time, even after the electricity fails. It gives you just enough time to save your work and shut down safely. It is an absolute lifesaver. All right, Section 5, time to practice. Let's see what we've learned. Let's test our knowledge with some questions straight from the textbook. Here's our first multiple choice question. Which part of the computer is called its brain? Is it A, the monitor, B, the CPU, C, the mouse, or D, the keyboard? Well, the correct answer is B, the CPU. Remember our anatomy analogy from earlier? The central processing unit controls all the other parts, making it the undeniable brain of the whole operation. Let's try another one. What do we use to type letters and numbers? Is it A, the mouse, B, the keyboard, C, the printer, or D, the monitor? Okay, if you guessed B, the keyboard, you hit the nail right on the head. With its 104 standard keys, it is our go-to tool for entering data and typing up all those letters and numbers. Okay, now let's try a rapid-fire matching exercise. We're going to match the tasks on the left with the correct computer parts on the right. Ready? The brain of the computer. That's the CPU. The part that looks like a TV. That's the monitor. Used for typing? Keyboard. The part that prints on paper, printer. And the tool that points at items on the screen, that is, of course, the mouse. See how perfectly each piece has its own specific, vital job to do? All right, true or false time. Statement. A computer can forget things easily. Think back to those computer superpowers we discussed. The answer is false. Absolutely false. A computer has incredible storage capacity, and it never forgets the information you save on it. Honestly, that's one of the main reasons they're so crucial in places like banks and hospitals. Let's lock all this knowledge in with some fill-in-the-blanks. Think of our word bank as we go. A computer works very fast. The CPU is the brain of the computer. A computer never gets tired. The small buttons on a keyboard are called keys. And finally, a computer works without making any mistakes. Seriously, you guys are acing this.
Okay, for our last exercise, let's look at an application-based question. Let's say Ria wants to take out the hard copy of an assignment she's prepared on her computer. Think about what that term means. Which device is she going to use to actually accomplish this? Well, if you remember our lesson on accessories, the answer is the printer. Ria needs a printer to take her digital assignment from the monitor and turn it into a physical hard copy on a piece of paper. Excellent job pulling all these concepts together today. We've seen today exactly what a computer is. We've explored the four main parts that make it run, the accessories that expand its abilities, and we absolutely crushed those practice exercises. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. We know the CPU is the brain of the computer system, but as technology advances, what other everyday machines around your house might have hidden brains of their own? Maybe your microwave? Your car? Keep your eyes open because computers really are everywhere. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.